Hi everyone, we've got another video here for Android NZ, and this time I just really wanted to show a kind of connections medley, if you will, for the newly released Galaxy Note. So the setup you can see in front of you here is a 1080p external monitor, and of course you can see on the display here that it's showing what you can see on the Galaxy Note screen here. So this of course is connected to the external monitor via an MHL connection, and it's outputting the phone screen display at its 1280 by 800 resolution to this display, and it looks really fantastic. You can really see the extra sharpness of the Note's resolution when it's output like this, as compared against something say like the Galaxy S2, which of course outputs at the phone's native resolution of WVGA, or 800 by 480 pixels. So that's how we connect to the TV here. You can also see this is a Logitech Bluetooth keyboard, and the Note is connected to this, and if we use the keyboard you can see that it will control the Galaxy Note, and furthermore we've also got, hopefully you can see a little mouse cursor on screen there, and if we look at that, that's just a little Dell Bluetooth mouse, and how it maps to Android is pressing the center button will bring up the context sensitive menu key, scrolling it will of course scroll, the left mouse button is select, just as it is on a normal mouse, and you can also press and drag that to execute swipes and other gestures on the Note, and the right hand mouse key maps to back within the Android system. So maps really nicely and makes control extremely good when you've got this kind of setup. So first of all, what I wanted to show you was just how good video looks, and what I'm going to show you here is a sample of Monsters Inc., and it's in 1080p, and the video bit rate is a stunning 9,500 kilobits per second. So it's a very high bit rate, 1080p, it's an MKV file, and if you watch here, Dice Player, which is probably the best player for the Note, just as it is for the Galaxy S2, is going to play it flawlessly. So if we watch, and of course you won't be able to see just how good that looks on the video here, but it's extremely sharp, it's just absolutely gorgeous, and you know, having this kind of playback capability on your phone is just fantastic. So if we exit there and have a look, say, at something else, why don't we look at this is the Bourne Ultimatum trailer, and this one's a 1080p MP4 this time. And once again, playback is just perfect, and it's really, really stunning, as you can probably tell. So we'll exit that one. There are a few other things I did want to show in relation to MHL out for the Note. So I'm just going to cut away now and show you something else that I think is really cool and a great application for the Note, more so than any other handset that's gone before it, including the Galaxy S2, which of course has all of the same kind of connectivity options that we have on offer here. And what you're looking at here, I realise, is going to look an awful lot like a Windows PC. I can assure you this is running from the Galaxy Note. What you're looking at, of course, is a remote desktop session. So this is connected to my laptop in another room. You can see on the Note screen what's displayed on the laptop screen, and of course I'm outputting that here. Now the great advantage for the Note that things like the Galaxy S2 didn't have is its resolution. So remote desktop sessions via the phone itself or via MHL can be a lot more productive than what we've seen before on, say, a WVGA handset. So as you can see, almost the entire screen of the laptop is displayed here. So you don't have that awkward scrolling and pinch zooming to interface with elements of the computer UI via the remote desktop session. Now the reason I've chosen Splashtop HD to show this one in particular is of all of the Android ones that I've tried, and I've tried probably most of them in the marketplace at one time or another. This is the only one that's functioned perfectly with Bluetooth keyboard and mouse for me, and that includes on something like the Asus Transformer, where it'll work with the keyboard dock. So it's the only one I've found that does that. It's also got some other nice advantages in that it can stream sound, which generally most of these can't do unless your computer's a Windows 7 Professional build, which has of course native support for RDP and sound transmission. So anyway, if we have a look here, just going to go down. You can hear a notification alert there on my laptop saying that my antivirus is not up to date. What I've done here is open up a Word document, and there's going to be a bit of delay between what I do here and what's happening on the laptop, and that's not anything wrong with Splashtop or the setup. What it is my home ADSL connection. It's terribly asymmetric, and if you're on a decent sort of symmetric connection, the experience would just fantastic. Even here, where I'm getting often as little as 20 kilobytes a second upload on my terrible asymmetric connection, the experience actually is pretty usable. So if we wanted to, we can type on the keyboard. And you can see that typing on the keyboard appears on the screen. That of course is happening on my laptop within Microsoft Word, so there's no reason to be stuck with the sort of office productivity software that you have natively on the phone, which is not too bad, but is certainly not a touch on actual sort of desktop software which we can now use. If we just click to the browser, we can do other things of course, like go into my Chrome browser on the laptop and browse via that. Or perhaps watch video from the laptop, or copy files to my Dropbox that I may have neglected to do before. So I'm just going to type in here, and we're going to have a look. It's going to jump to our website, androidnz.net. And there you have it, the web page as it appears in Chrome on my laptop, right here on this external monitor from the Galaxy Note via MHL and Splashtop HD. Splashtop the phone version. HD doesn't yet work with the Note, so the regular phone version of Splashtop setting up this remote desktop session. So just a fantastic experience. An ideal perhaps that hasn't quite been lived up to up until the Note, and of course you could expect a similar experience with the Galaxy Nexus, which should also offer all of this connectivity. And of course it would be hardly recognisable as an Android NZ video if we didn't show off some emulator gaming, and what you're looking at here is of course N64oid, and here I'm controlling it with, no, it looks like a PlayStation 3 remote. It's actually a phone joy, you can tell because it's got the little Chinese icon here. So these are available from China. They're cheaper than most of the other available controllers, and were a great option until recently when the 6-axis controller app updated. So I could actually be doing this with a PlayStation 3 remote, but I thought I've already shown you that, so let's run with a phone joy this time. You can see the emulator running on the phone screen here, and then of course output via MHL. And as you will have seen before, N64oid just runs so perfectly for most of the major titles on the Nintendo 64 platform. And I won't labour the gameplay here except to say that it's extremely good. When you've got a proper game controller, and it's particularly true of systems like the Nintendo 64 or the PlayStation, where there are actually just a lot of buttons to emulate, and playing with on-screen controls is pretty untenable. So that's all I wanted to show you here. Just very quickly, of course, emulator gaming, another great reason to use MHL on a phone like the Galaxy Note. Now finally, the last thing I wanted to show tonight was the USB on the go functionality that the Note has, of course, like its predecessor, the Galaxy S2. Now, been a bit of a mixed bag really, USB on the go functionality with the Note. Just going to get the now famous $4 USB host cable that I purchased from eBay and tested with the Galaxy S2. So we're going to be using this one, and you'll see if we connect this to the Note, we'll get a pop-up that says USB connector connected. And first of all, let's try this one. This is a 1 GB drive, and it's NTFS formatted, and you'll see that the phone recognises there is USB storage, but it says it's blank, and in fact it isn't. And if you actually pull down the notification tray, you get the full error message: USB storage blank or has unsupported file system. So NFTS is still not fixed, so we're stuck with FAT32, of course, which means we do run into the 4 GB file limit. So for some HD video, this might be an issue. Now, what I've got here next is a card reader. Now, this was one of the positives for the Galaxy Note. If we connect this one up, we'll see once again that mass storage is connected, and a media scanner is going to run on that drive. And then if we go into a file browser, let's say Astro, find the folder called USB storage, and you can see that's down here on the bottom right. Click on that. SDA is this, and we can go in and see what's what. And we can see when we connect it up that indeed the drive is working, and I can copy files to and from this drive, which makes for kind of great portability and storage. Now, the interesting thing about this is this was actually recognised as a high drain device by the Galaxy S2, so it couldn't actually use it, whereas here, for whatever reason, it does run. So it seems like the Galaxy Note is actually outputting a little bit more charge via the USB host connection than its predecessor, the Galaxy S2, was capable of. So that's a positive for the Note. It's working with this card reader where the Galaxy S2 didn't. But unfortunately, there's still more bad news. This, of course, is an externally powered USB hub, and in the Galaxy S2 you can use one of these in order to connect something like a portable USB drive that requires more power than the Note can supply. And look, I've tried that with the Note, and it just simply doesn't work. So I can't get those drives to run. Similarly, I can't get really large drives, like say a 1 or 2 terabyte drive, to run when it's got its own power source. Whereas, of course, they did work on the Galaxy S2. So somewhat disappointing in terms of connecting larger storage mediums to the Note as it stands at the moment. And I'm not quite sure why that USB host support has changed for those things. Here, of course, we have a Logitech plug-and-play USB controller, and like the Galaxy S2 before it, it's not able to connect, and what it'll say there is unknown USB device connected. That previous notification is from me yanking the cable out on the drive before. So that's the current one, unknown USB device connected. So unfortunately there still isn't support for USB gamepads, but of course that is coming with Ice Cream Sandwich, which has been confirmed for the Galaxy Note. So that's really a quick rundown on USB on the go. Disappointingly, NTFS still doesn't work. Large drives that need external power sources, either via a hub or their own source, don't work, whereas they did with the Galaxy S2. USB gamepads don't work, so a fair amount of disappointment there. But on the other hand, pen drives still work, and now some card readers that were previously high drain devices for the Galaxy S2 are actually able to be supplied with enough power to run on the Galaxy Note. So there is some positives in there, and the keyboard and mouse that I have unfortunately never worked with the Galaxy S2 and also don't work with the Galaxy Note, so I can't show you those. I suspect that they would run because when other people tried different keyboards and mice with the Galaxy S2 they did work. But again, I can't guarantee that because clearly the USB host support for the Galaxy Note is a somewhat different beast than it was for the Galaxy S2, so it's not equivalent. But my suspicion is that USB keyboards and mice will indeed work as they did for the Galaxy S2. Now the main problem and the reason why I'd suggest Bluetooth keyboard and mouse are the better option is that USB connections on the Galaxy Note and the Galaxy S2 that's a mutually exclusive connection with MHL, so you can either have one or the other, you can't have both. So you can't, for instance, output to an external monitor like I was doing earlier via MHL and also have, say, a USB keyboard plugged in. That just doesn't work. So for that reason you really should get a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse to go with new handsets that are supporting these, and they can be purchased really quite cheaply from eBay and similar places. What you're looking for is one that's compatible with the Bluetooth HID, that's the Bluetooth HID HID profile, and any of those should work with the Galaxy Note as they did for the Galaxy S2. So the video is quite long already. Hopefully the little signpost at the beginning let you navigate to what you wanted to see without having to wade through the whole 15 minutes or so of this video, but just wanted to give you a really good indication of a lot of the different connectivity options available in this fantastic Samsung phone, the Galaxy Note. So that's all I wanted to show today. I think that's quite a lot to absorb. So this is NZ Tech Freak signing out for AndroidNZ.net, and be sure to check us out over the blog. We've got lots and lots of content going on with the Note at the moment, and very soon we'll have a Motorola Razr and a Galaxy Nexus as well, and we'll be doing our trademark detailed reviews on each of those phones also. So keep an eye peeled on the blog. There'll be lots more content in addition to what you're seeing here on YouTube. And if you're just absolutely champing at the bit to know more about the Galaxy Note, you can actually follow my personal YouTube account, NZ Tech Freak, on Twitter, and you'll see every day a few dozen posts from me with new findings and experiences that I've had with the Galaxy Note. So finally and for real this time, this is NZ Tech Freak signing off for AndroidNZ.net.